I had really strong women in my life, and my mom is one of them. Oftentimes, if I want to go to the candy store, then there would be a, quarter bags, just for a quarter, you get 25 pieces of candy. And so if mom didn't have a quarter for me, then I'd go to my grandma. And if she didn't have a quarter for me, then I'd go to my great grandma. So one of those women, eventually I'd get a quarter out of somebody.
This is my grandmother's house, Josephine Davis in RC. And I practically grew up down here in this house and Jeremy's grandmother's house. And on the door, they still got the same door that has D on it for their last name, Davis. We had pretty big Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, whatever holiday and birthdays, we were here.
My mom's been in the Owens Corning with the GMP local union for 41 years. She's worked there, and she was able to provide a good life for me and my sister Jerica. Father really never was in the picture, and so growing up here with mom and my sister, she's always been a laborer. I mean, it's something. It wasn't by no means a clean job, because she'd come home and there'd be insulation and fiberglass in her clothes.
Jeremy and Jerica, proud brother.
Jerica was, when she was born, we found, she was born deaf, and so they thought that when she was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck, and so she didn't develop, her hearing didn't develop in her inner ear. And so learning that, it put a challenge on us.
Ever since then, he always took care of his sister.
After 3 years, she'd get home. Brother home too. Mom still worked. She worked 12 hours. Brother, homework. Yes, brother. Ask if I did my homework. I'd say yes. Finish. My homework. You check my homework. To play. Brother, I love Canada. We love going to Kings Island. Why? The Beast was our favorite roller coaster. But I want the big she tried. She said he'd say put her hands up, but
he was scared?
We was little.
You were scared of the roller coaster, Jerry?
Well, yeah.
And what we do, we block this part off down to the alley. And my neighbors, the neighbor here and the neighbor back there, we all get together, do the cooking and everything, and we just invite the neighborhood to come to a Halloween party, birthday party, or just a get-together for the community. I enjoyed it, just watching the kids. At least, the parents know where they're at. So we try to do something for the kids.
And that's what the South Newark Civic Association was all about, was trying to get neighbors to communicate once again. I mean, there was times where you could talk to someone, they didn't even know who their neighbor was. It's like, well, how, to me, that was like, wait, you don't know who your neighbor is? So it was like, well, wait a minute, we just got to start to a very basic level of, let's just get to know one another. You had neighbors, you talked over the fence all the time. Get up in the morning, hey neighbor, how you doing? I grew up with that. How do we get trust amongst people? How do we get a sense of respect amongst people? Back to like when I was a child, back to the point at where, I know that family's not doing too well, so let me feed their kids for a night, offer them dinner. I love my old neighborhood, the South End family. Everybody took care of one another. This was a partnership between the Civic Association and Dennis University. And we had some students came down and they set up sort of recorders and stuff with families, sat down with them in their living rooms, and they listened to people. We really wanted to capture what's sort of that American dream that people in this neighborhood believe. Tell us about it. We wanted to really hear from people about what's their experience and what are sort of those hopes that they want for their children and their grandchildren. You young people are hope, the American dream. To walk out the door, go to your work, raise your kids, do what you want to do.
without having to worry and be afraid. Nobody wants to be afraid in their home. You're going to be the ones that have to deal with this. I'm sorry. As a generation that didn't do anything, I actually apologize. I didn't do enough. I didn't speak up. Shame on me. Times have changed.
What type of society do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a society where people are on their own, having to sort of struggle on their own to try to find opportunities? Or do we want to live in a society where people are really being able to care for one another? I mean, what do we as a people really share as a value? And if we're talking about wanting to, especially kids, I mean, if we're wanting to really care for children, then that means that we want to make sure that they have educational opportunities, and we want to make sure that they have health care. And so that reflects not just to the kids, but what families are they living in? So you have to take care of everything. I was blessed to grow up having a loving mother, and I was blessed to be in a family that really cared. So I think that what I looked at was, how can I give back in a way, even at a young age? I mean, I felt as though it just something captured me very young as to why I wanted to give back to people. I mean, Mayor Frank Stair at the time, when I was a teenager in high school, he was really one of the big inspirations for me, because he saw that youth have a voice. No, regardless of where you are, I was just a South End kid and went to Newark High School, but he saw that I wanted to give back. And it's like, many times it's like, whatever blessings you receive, what can you do for someone else?
And I think Jeremy has that as a person. He has a good heart and want the community to work together, not just our South End, because we grew up in South End, but all communities.
My name's Jeremy Blake, and for a fair and safer Licking County, I'm asking for your vote and support.